Here we go. Can you hear me? Is anybody in the chat? Can you guys hear me in the chat? One, two, test. Huh? You can hear me in the chat? It sounds good? Everybody's good? Let's go. I don't hear no bleeding or nothing. Okay, we got it together, guys. You know, technical issues, but we here. The numbers game. A great topic. The numbers game. Boy, I'm about to get into this thing so fierce with you guys. The numbers game. What I want to talk about is how the numbers game is like a con. It's a con, right? Because in the community, you'll hear that. You'll hear it in business, and you'll hear it with people that are pursuing getting some money and things. They'll use that, the numbers game, right? And the reason why I say the numbers game is a con is because it can work as long as you go along with the system that you're in. So let me talk about, say if you're a black person, right? A minority person, right? And you buy into what the country has taught is valuable, right? You buy into this idea of the numbers game, right? Because people would tip, man, it's a numbers game, man. It's a numbers game, you know? I mean, you'll hear that all the time. It's like a throwaway line. It's a numbers game, right? But you buy into the idea of the numbers game, and what it does is it kills your thinking capacity. It kills it off because it doesn't allow you to challenge the idea, because you think that the idea of a numbers game is the way and the only way, right? So it becomes a con. Because if you are going after something and they've only locked in your mind that this is the only way this can be achieved, this can be accomplished, is you got to think this way. And what they do is they reaffirm that indoctrination by showing you other people that have been successful going the way that they said you got to go in order for you to be successful. That's how they get you. Because they said, now look at this person over here, and look at this business over here, and look at this over here, and see how they've been successful doing exactly what we told them to do in order to become successful. So what happens, you have a generation of people that become locked into that type of idea. The way I could tell you is that, the way I could show you is that there's a lot of AI things coming out, right? And whoever was the first one to get the jump on the AI technology, right? They might have convinced everybody else that in order to produce this type of technology through AI, it has to come through this way and this way and this way, right? But here you go, you have China that comes a whole different kind of way that creates something greater than the AI that this country might create, right? And that's in everything. Because if you're not involved in this indoctrination here, another country has a different idea, a different perspective, and can tap into other things in order to achieve what they've achieved here in this country's indoctrination. So what I'm trying to say is that there's so much in the country that you have believed as the only way to do things. And that's the con, because they've locked you into an idea, and what they've done, they've killed off your thinking capacity, because you don't go into a situation thinking, could I do this a different way? You're already convinced because they've shown you all the evidence that this is the way to do it, because everybody that have done it this way have succeeded. It's kind of like going to school. It's kind of like if they say, well, if you go to an Ivy League university, right, it's going to produce this, that, and the other. Like they brag about the people that have gone to Harvard. There's a certain sense of pride if you've gone to Harvard or Yale or Cambridge or Oxford, Columbia, these Ivy Leagues, right? And what they have is many people that have come up out of those environments that have garnered great success, right? What how do you feel coming from an environment that you might not even have access to Harvard or Cambridge and the like, right? How are you supposed to feel about that? If they have shown you that Harvard, Yale, Cambridge, Oxford, and all these places, if you go to these schools, not only getting the education from these systems, but the connections that you make, right? This promises success. But how do you feel in the ghetto? How do you feel when this is not available to you, right? What happens to you? What is taken from you? Is self-esteem taken from you, right? Is your ability to think beyond Yale or Cambridge, is that available to you? Well, it's just like the numbers game. It's the same con. And the reason why I say it's a con, because it doesn't challenge you to think above it. Do you understand? I need that first scripture, D.
The Lord did not love you and choose you because you were greater in number than any other peoples. You were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loves you and is keeping the oath which he swore to your fathers, the Lord has brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed, bought you from the house of slavery, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Therefore, know without any doubt and understand that the Lord your God, he is Yah, the faithful God, who is keeping his covenant and his steadfast loving kindness to 1,000 generations with those who love him and keep his commandments.
Okay, stop back there. Go to the beginning and tell which verse it is in chapter.
Deuteronomy 7 through 9, that was.
Okay, go in the beginning. Watch this.
The Lord did not love you and choose you because you were greater in number than any other people.
Stop that. Stop right there. That right there is a direct attack against the idea of the numbers game. See, everything that I've been able to achieve is through me challenging the idea that has been sold to me. Sold to me about success, sold to me about family. The idea of something being sold to me was challenged through the history book, who Christians call the Bible. It's a religion to them, it's culture to us, right? And because I view it as a history book of my own people, I look at it in terms of culture. And I'm able to see things not in a religious perspective. And I'm able to pull something to get revelations. So what am I pulling? Right from the gate, he's saying, when I chose you as an Israelite, your people, what I didn't do is choose you because you were greater in number than any other nation. As a matter of fact, you were the fewest, right? I'm going to give you spiritual power. I'm going to tell you about it. That trumps all of the indoctrination and the evidence that them people have said. And guess what it doesn't do? What they do. They exclude you, right? Because the system was designed to elevate and promote white males, right? But in your culture, it's designed to elevate you. And once I tuned into that, I utilized the information, and that information that I'm going to share with you today allowed me to conquer and overcome what they had excluded me from. Oh, that's good stuff. I'm about to break this thing down. What they had excluded me from, because it didn't make me feel less than, because I didn't have access to what they guaranteed success to be, right? So what I realized is about the Most High is that the Most High does things quite different. The Most High will never be found in the crowd. Ooh, I'm talking to you. Ooh, I'm talking to you. The Most High will never be found in the crowd. Listen to me. Listen to me. He's never been into numbers, which is why right from the beginning, he qualified something for only those who could hear. He said, I didn't call you because you were the numbers game. I didn't call you because you thought you was great because you had more numbers than anybody else, right? As a matter of fact, you were the fewest because I'm not into numbers, right? What the system is going to do is it's going to trick you into thinking that the value is the popularity. The value is the recognition. The value is the numbers. That's what they're going to trick you into believing. And if they could get you to believe it, if they could get you to believe that that's where all the value is, it's the con. Because what they've done, they've controlled your future. They've controlled your ability to become greater than their concepts and their ideas. Because a lot of black people today, and not them other black, Mexican, or their goal is to be like the people that they feel is better than them. Their goal is to be like the people who they feel is better than them, which is why a lot of times when our people get into their environments with them, they shrink because they have bought the idea, right? That it's the numbers. And what I mean by the numbers is that what we've put out there, if you don't believe this, you can't achieve this. And so when you're in their environment, you shrink up underneath that concept. There's nothing in you that allows you to challenge that because you don't have any other information. The only information you have is that they're better than you, they're greater than you, and they show you the evidence of why. Right? See, it's that reaffirming thing. It's the reaffirming. It is this. Listen. Listen. It is the American dream makes you happy. Pursue the American dream. Right? When you buy that idea, what's the opposite of what makes you happy? The opposite of that is if you don't apprehend the American dream, you're sad. Right? But they have to make sure you buy this concept because they can control you. They can control your future. They can control your emotions. They can control your feelings because you have bought the con that in order to be happy, you have to achieve the American dream. You see the con? So now, if you're in this country and you've been in this country for 400 plus years and you've grown up only understanding loving what they tell you to love, hating what they tell you to hate, valuing what they tell you to value, that's the only thing in your mind. Unless you get new information to challenge the idea of the American dream, right? You have to get new information. And that history book is the information. Because if you don't have anything new, you're going to be submitted up underneath the indoctrination. You will be submitted. And that's what a lot of our people are, right? So we position ourselves to be like what we think is achievement, right? And so when you position yourself, your objective and your goal is to be what they are, to accomplish what they've accomplished, right? I just want to be how they be. I want to do what they do because what they are and what they do is success, right? How can you develop a mind that can overcome that concept if you don't have any other information? So I took you to the history book right in the beginning when the Most High was saying to the Israelites, listen, I didn't choose you. In other words, he understood the indoctrination in the world, right? So right from the beginning, the Most High came and said, look, man, listen, get off of this numbers thing, right? Get off of the numbers, right? That you think the value is in the numbers. So he, right from the beginning, right, told him, listen, let me let you know who I am around here, right? I don't care about your numbers. As a matter of fact, you were fewer in number. He was checking them right from the beginning to challenge the indoctrination that their value comes from their numbers. And the Most High was saying, don't get caught up in that indoctrination, because if you believe it, you'll be submitted up underneath it. If you believe that, you'll never develop the mind to overcome it, to conquer it, to see anything beyond what they've achieved. Because your idea of achievement is doing what they've already done. But you think that's achievement. What they've already done, that's satisfactory to you? All right, read the next verse, that next chapter. Bring your whole mind, because we're going to break this thing down.
Romans 9:27. And Isaiah calls out concerning Israel. Though the numbers of the sons of Israel be like the sands of the sea.
Say that again.
Though the number like the sons of Israel be like the sands of the sea.
Wait, them same people that I said earlier, when the Most High came and said, I didn't choose you because you had more numbers. As a matter of fact, you were fewer in numbers. But now, years later, thousands of years later, they got numbers now. Watch, bring your whole mind, about to turn a corner on you. Now, thousands of years later, the culture have grown to numbers. So he couldn't come and say to them now, he couldn't come to say to them, listen, I didn't choose you because you had more numbers. As a matter of fact, you had less numbers. Now watch the conversation, because I told you, you can never find God in the crowd. Read.
It is only a remnant.
From the beginning.
And Isaiah calls out concerning Israel. Though the number of the sands of Israel be like though the number of the sons of Israel be like the sand of the sea.
Though you be so many, you got numbers now. You got numbers. Watch when he turned the corner. Go ahead.
It is only a remnant, a small believing minority that will be saved from Yah's judgment.
Okay, look what he did. Look what he did. He came right back around and confirmed what he had said right from the beginning. Don't get comfortable trying to find me in the crowd. Even though you have gotten big, even though you got numbers now, let me tell you something. What you gonna tell me? The same thing I told you when I introduced myself to you. Only a small believing part of you will be saved. Oh, I'm talking. Only a small believing part, because you can't find God in the crowd. Did I tell you from the beginning that idea that it's a numbers game is only a con? Right? Read the next one, D. Break it down to you. I'm going to show you how this history book relates to life and can reveal to you what you have to look out for. Go ahead.
Matthew 7:13 through 14. Enter through the narrow gate.
Enter through the what gate?
Narrow gate.
Narrow? It's narrow?
It's narrow.
What? The narrow gate? Go ahead.
For wide is the gate, and spacious and broad is the way that leads
Go ahead.
to destruction.
Say that part again.
That leads away.
No. But why? What that part?
For wide is the gate and spacious and broad is the way that leads away to destruction.
Spacious and broad?
Spacious and broad.
Sound like they got numbers to me.
Mm-hmm. Whole bunch of them.
Uh-huh. So read that over again.
Enter through the narrow gate.
The narrow gate.
For wide is the gate and spacious and broad is the way that leads away to destruction.
Stop right there. You see the con? See, what the enemy does is he'll dress it up so pretty. And what the enemy does is he dresses it up through society. This is the con, right? He dresses it up through society so that you think that it's normal. Because if you think that it's normal, you won't develop a defense against it. Why would you develop a defense against something that's normal? Everybody's doing it. This is just the way to do anything. You see that deception? But the Most High is saying, listen, I want you to understand, you can't find me in the crowd. But look at the country today. Look at social media today. Everybody wants to be popular. Everybody wants the numbers. Because that's what they think the value is. They think the value is popularity. And you can't find the Most High God in the crowd. I'm talking. Whew, I'm talking. Read that part again, D.
Enter through the narrow gate.
The narrow gate.
For wide is the gate, and spacious and broad is the way that leads away to destruction.
Who are we? Who are we?
Remnant.
Oh, that sounds like it's narrow to me, huh? That's why we ain't on the street trying to twist nobody's arm. We're going to deliver this information, and the Most High said, my sheep know my voice, and another they will not follow. Because any and everybody that's a part of the remnant is here through value. And you know what that does for you? It makes you unpenetrated by what you think the crowd thinks. That's good stuff. It makes you unpenetrated by what penetrates everybody right now in this country. Popularity, wanting to be where it's popular. And now you are where God is, because God is not where it's popular. As a matter of fact, where the Most High is, it's narrow. It's narrow. Only the remnant. If you read our history book, you will see the consistency all the way through it. You know what it feels like when I could, well, let me say it like this. I'm good right there, D. You know what it feels like? I remember when somebody who had a very popular IG, hundreds of thousands of people, right? He was doing business. And his people were saying to me, man, we could help you get more friends and subscribers. We could help you. And I said, I understand what you're saying, but it's never been that important to me. Well, what do you mean? Because if you get more visibility, you can do more things. If you get more people supporting you, you can do more things. I said, I can guarantee you people out there that's got 1 million+ subscribers or friends have not done what I've done in the country with no friends. Have they changed state laws? Have they defeated this system? Well, I've done that without friends. You can't tie me to what you value, because you can't find who I'm with in the crowd anyway. You can't water me down. You can't water me down. You can't make me think the only way to achieve what you think success is, which I don't think success is. That's where we got the problem right now. Your idea of success and my idea of success. That's what the problem is. You think you're successful because you got some girls, you got the car, you got the house, you got a little jewelry on, right? I think I'm successful when they killed my little brother in 2016. And they have been killing most of our people, a lot of our people. And nobody could do nothing about it. But the Most High sent me from that narrow pathway and brought me into this state and changed state law and allowed me to lead this country in police accountability, where the people you value had to come and submit to me. From the governor, the mayor, the chief, the police chief, the sheriff, senators, governors came and submitted to the information in my leadership. See, we got value. We got that different. What you consider value and what I consider value is two different things. You feel what I'm saying? I've said it before. Even Trump gave me a call. The White House called, Mr. Taylor. Yes, we have the president on the line for you. He got on the line. I said, "What's up?" True story. "What's up, Press?" "Oh, I saw you on Sean Hannity, and this, that, and that, yada, yada." All I'm saying is that if you believe their ideas and concepts of value, they will control your future. Because when you accept their ideas of value, what you've accepted is that as far as you can go. That wasn't good enough for me. I'm not impressed. You had a people for free labor for hundreds of years. You should be doing and having everything you have right now in this country. You give any people free labor for hundreds of years, and they'll have in America too. I'm not impressed. It's not big enough for me. I'm not impressed. But you bring somebody who was born from a prostitute and a pimp from the gutter, and God raised him up and conquer their system. That's impressive. When you never could see it, when you never gave me a chance, I wasn't expecting for you to give me one. I didn't need your validation. You weren't impressive to me. Everybody talking about all these billionaires. They should have everything that they have. It's unimpressive. If you go read history and you read about the amount of money that was made through free labor, you would understand it's not impressive. You use our relatives and ancestors' bodies to do everything and bring wealth into this nation, not only this one, in Europe and all over. I'm not impressed, but I'm impressed with those who could press into their original culture and stay unaffected by what the world sells you so that it can control you. And they come and we come up out of particular situations in life. It ain't pretty. I told somebody one time, because they was complaining about something about our communities. I said, I liken our community to a person in the middle of the ocean drowning. And they're fighting and they're kicking and they're doing everything to stay afloat. I told the person, no one drowns cute. No one drowns cute. What you're seeing is a people trying to keep from drowning, and it's not cute. It's going to be ugly. But there's a resolution. There's a resolution, right? So listen, I see a lot of people that are influenced and cultivated by this demonic idea of what makes me somebody. And a lot of times it affects our communities more than anybody else's is because we've been broken to feel like nobody. And so there's an extent that we choose to go to feel validated. But I'm telling you, when you get attached to your original culture and when you begin to understand the idea where to meet your God, I'm not talking about no Christian stuff. I'm talking about some real stuff, real life. Culture, not religion. Culture. And when you begin to realize that the Most High has always, for thousands of years, those scriptures I read, those were in the Old Testament like 6,000 years ago. He's the same God today. The same one. But guess what? I got news for the world. He ain't looking for everybody. I got news for you. If you ain't found him, because he ain't looking for you. He ain't looking for you. All them Christians will tell you, I'm telling you the truth. He ain't looking for you. You better come looking for him. Because like I said earlier, everybody that's here is here based on value. So when you're here based upon value, not because you think you're important, not because you think you're special, not because somebody's twisting your arm, just come to church. Nah, bro, you ain't got to come on. Matter of fact, we encourage you to go to the mosque or go down there to the church or something to be better over there for you. That's how we'll get down, right? Because ain't nobody special over here but this relief doctrine and this information. Not me and nobody else. And everybody's here because they value being here. And if you ain't here for value, you can and you will be compromised by the con of feeling special and important, being what the world have taught you need to be. Oh, yeah, you'll be compromised. I teach on manhood a lot. A lot of you know my daily fires. And people used to come in and they would say, man, Dre, man, how do I be a man? How can I be a man? I said, it's a one-word answer. I would tell them, it's a one-word answer. And they say, what? What do I got to do to be a man? Right? And I would say, look, man, you've got to be willing to give up everything. Why don't we see men today in the world? We see a lot of people that have been indoctrinated to what makes them valuable. And it's always something outside of them. The value is nothing inside. The value is always something outside. Well, maybe he could shoot a basketball good. Maybe he can throw a football. Maybe he has a trucking company. Maybe whatever. It's always something outside that validates this man. So they think, right? So I said, manhood is so important that you have to be willing to give up everything for it. I said, and then you can start beginning to be one. I said, because once a woman comes into your pathway, right, and she realizes how important the principles of manhood are to you, that you are willing to give your life before you violate, right? But when everything is exterior that makes you a man, you will be a cheater, you will be a liar, you will be a conniver, you will stoop low to take advantage of people, and you will still think you a man. You will still think you a man because everybody out there is doing the same thing you're doing. until the real man come on the scene. And the real man tells you, my manhood is more important than anything, and I'm willing to die before I compromise it. And a woman sees that, and that becomes the value. See, I know. I'm just going to go over this way because the Spirit is leading me this way. I know. I've been there. I've been there. People used to wonder, how is it that a girl would leave her boyfriend and come be with you and you got multiple girls, right? What is it about that, right? I used to lecture at universities and criminal justice classes and everything, and they would ask questions, and I would say some people have some of the information that I have on manhood. I said, but articulating that information is a whole nother level. They can't articulate, right? I'm articulating these fundamentals that have been lost. When my father died, they said, there was a guy there, an elder, he said, an African proverb, when an elder dies, a library is burnt. When an elder dies, a library is burnt, right? And because of that superficial idea of value, which is everything exterior, manhood has been lost. It's like when I talk about manhood, I've been doing it for years, decades. People are like, what? Like it's nothing they never heard. It's lost. That's the danger. Just like they said about my dad. When an elder dies, a library is burnt. That's heavy. Right? And so when all you have is everybody else, everybody out there, especially in this social media age, right? Telling you and then showing the evidence. That's how they get you. Right? Because they show you, well, I will do this and I have this woman, just have some money. You can have what you want. See, I got this and got this and I got this, right? And they'll show you the evidence, right? It only affects you if you don't understand what makes you a man. If you don't understand what makes you a man, you'll fall for that stuff. You'll fall for it every single time because it looks good. The devil's supposed to make it look good. My dad would tell me if the devil was fair, he wouldn't be the devil. He's supposed to make it look beautiful. What you think he gonna use? His worst? No, he gonna use his best. He gonna make it look beautiful. He gonna make it look fun. And then you'll see a lot of these people that might have money or influence. They ain't got no love though, because they don't even know what love is, right? So if you don't know what love is and you haven't seen it demonstrated, because everything that you've been taught is exterior, right? And so now you see that in this country, there's like 80+% divorce rate. Because can't nobody find nothing that's real because the only thing that's promoted is the numbers game. The only thing that's promoted is that the value is outside, is what you do outside of yourself, right? But I was a man that understood something different. And that made me a very potentially dangerous individual for a land of males. Because I'm going to sit down and have the same conversation with your girl, right? And I'm just going to say how I live, right? There are certain things, and I'm telling you this right now because you're about to see it demonstrated. And I would normally not even tell you, but I know that you're unfamiliar with this action from an individual who says they're a man. So I'm going to tell you what manhood is, but what's most important is I want you to look and you see it operated in my life, right? So I'm going to tell her, I know you've been with guys that have cheated on you, that have promised you this and promised you that. Guess what? I'm not about to promise you anything, because who I am has nothing to do with you. Who I am has everything to do with the convictions that I believe in, that's so important, again, that I'm willing to die for those convictions. Right? And when you begin to gravitate on the things that are important, you become a giant in a land of immature men. And right from the beginning, a woman might not be able to just visualize you and see you. But if you have a 15-minute conversation, she gonna feel something resonating from your inside because you're not trying to penetrate her from the outside, because she sees that all day long. She sees guys because this is the time of trick culture. I just want to buy her something because I am so reduced to my emotions and my feelings and my desires that I have become an animal. How? Because do you see what animals do? They eat, they have sex, and they die. And if that's all you've become, you just an animal. You just an animal. I just want to have sex. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at as a society. Right? I just want to have sex. And I'd be like, oh my God. How do you feel about that, Drake? I would not allow a woman just because of how pretty she is, whether she's got a big butt or chi-chis or whatever. Women ain't going to be able to come around and just talk about she had me. That's not going to happen. Oh, it ain't going to happen. A woman is not going to be able to go tell her friend, girl, I had Dre. No, you didn't. And you won't have me. See, because I'm a man and I have value, and my value has nothing to do with your womb. Absolutely nothing to do with your womb. Right? But if all you've been growing up from teenage years is a person around other individuals that are older than you, your uncles and all that, and everybody has only been focused 80% of their time of trying to go find some sex. Trying to go find some sex. Wow. That's it. That's what they reduced to. And you know what they learn? They learn how to talk to get sex. They know how to act and be like and not be. Well, they just know how to say the right things and not be the right thing. And guess what? Women have accepted it. You know why? Because when they look around their communities, their city, everybody doing the same thing. I guess this is just what it is. And so now they just feel like I just got to get what I can get. So now the women is out there. I know what I'm dealing with because the guy I had before this guy and before this guy and before this guy, all of them guys were the same. So now the only way, since I'm in an environment where this is how men are, I have to position myself in this environment of what I can get. Right? So now the country, all the dominant thought process in the country is the man and the woman is, what can I get? What can I get? That's it. He's like, what can I get? And she's like, what can I get? Right? And this is what they feel. I will do this to get that. And so the that becomes the value. I will do this to get that. So the that is the value. The value is not the man or the woman. It is the that. I will do this to get that. You see? And that's where we're at. That's where we are. That's why the remnant is so desperately needed. That's why the information is so desperately needed. That's why young men need to understand the value, why to value. Because you can't tell them, you can't just say, which the country tells men or males. You know, when you turn 18, you're a man. When you turn 18, you're a man. Right? There's nothing that they have to do. There's nothing that they have to be challenged with. It's just simply age. When you become 18, you're simply a man. And so because of that, I came up with an explanation. I said, a man is not a gender, it's a position. that requires things in you for you to fill the position. And if you don't have those things inside of you, then you're not a man. A doctor have to have the necessary things to fulfill the position. A lawyer, politicians, or whatever. So manhood has requirements that if you don't have, I don't care how old you are, you could be 50. You should not be considered a man. Now think about a community that teaches that to young men and women when they're toddlers. Think about growing up in an environment when you have a weight upon you to produce certain things in order for you to be man or woman. The beauty of that. Where we at in time, nephew?
45 minutes.
We're what? 7:10. So I always like doing this. Well, no, my wife told me I should do it. And so I was agreeing with her. Last week, you heard some remnant members, and I like you hearing other people that's been a part of the remnant. And just to hear their stories, their testimonies, or whatever. So I'm going to leave that with you and let you guys go back through this at your leisure, right? But go back and understand how the Most High is moving and the things that He is giving you that will allow you to overcome what they have sold to you and tried to confirm to you. And then look at me as a testimony of this information that I'm sharing with you, how I superseded not only where they thought I come from, but them, right? I superseded them because I beat their system in order to get laws changed, right? How did I do it? Because I wasn't impressed. You're impressed. I'm not, right? And when you're not impressed, guess what? You seek for new information. If you start with, I'm not impressed, watch where you go. If you start with, I'm not impressed, watch where your mind expands. Watch where the fact that your mind expands, that you start intermingling with new information and new knowledge. But when their achievement is your goal, yeah, they got your future. Your future is right where they are, if you can get there, right? Remember, exercise it, try it in the morning when you get up, tonight, before you go to sleep. Look at the world, look at the system, look at how everything is going, and say to yourself, I'm not impressed. Say, I'm not impressed. And from that space, watch how your mind begins to expand. That's where it comes from. It can't come from you being impressed because you just limit yourself to what somebody else has done. I refuse. It wasn't big enough for me to accomplish what I did because I've been here for many years, and before me, people were trying to do the same thing and could not do it because they were impressed. And that's the limitations that they had. Try it. Eddie.
How y'all doing tonight?
Doing great.
All right. I'm Eddie B, as they call me. And I'm going to give my story about me not being impressed. You know, I was young. I was raised in the church. My mother would drop us off and go to work. And you watch the people in there. Everybody chasing sex. You know, the money. Their God was whoever got the best job or, you know, was making more money, that's God was on your side. Wasn't impressed. I told my mother, I said, boy, by the time when I turn 18, I'm never stepping foot up in another church, man, because, you know, you didn't see the Most High working there. So I left the church and, you know, ran out into the streets. So, because you believe when you're young, that's where all the men are at, you know. So you in the streets, everybody ducking and dodging child support. Their baby mama running their lives. They go outside and hustle so they can go back and give their girlfriends, their baby mamas, all their money, and you looking, you ducking and dodging penitentiary. I ain't see no power there. We go out, you act hard amongst another black man, or he do something, he owe you some money, you get hard with that. But the rest of the day, you running from the police. I wasn't impressed with that. You go to the club, get drunk, you make money just to go chase the women. I was like, yeah, okay. So, coming up, I didn't drink, smoke, none of that stuff really, well, it didn't impress me. Same thing. Okay, the men out in the streets. So went to the mosque, joined the revolution and all that stuff. And it was just always fear. Everybody running or playing the victim role about what the white man is doing. Where are the men at? So it's like, you spend your whole time running from this situation to this situation, trying to be a man with the little information that you got, but you're watching the men in your lives, conquer. The system is telling them what the definition of a man is, but all you see is fear, and the only thing that makes you a man is how many women you can get or how much money you can get. But then you also, you see the compromise. My father, he will always teach me to be a gentleman, but he taught me how to be a gentleman by showing me what not to do. And I look at other people in my family, they did do what he did, thinking that was manly, and I'm like, man, that's not it. So by me doing the opposite, it made me grow into, by me not drinking and smoking and doing all the things that he taught us what to do to make you a man. I seen the value in myself grow by watching how my, people around me was being devalued by doing the same things that my father was doing. So, just running from one situation to another situation, and it's like, it kind of remind me of like you watch the movies where you see a group of kids, they doing stuff and they fighting with other kids and all this stuff, and they always be that one to be like, man, I ain't running no more. And I had to stop and, take that narrow path and go my own way and walk my own walk. And that brought me here to the remnant, where we value the information. I take it like it's a chapter in John. Hold on, let me go get it, and I gotta do the Elijah. Hold on. I just took a picture. It's yeah. It's John 19:17, where it says Jesus, carried his own cross. So here in this remnant, like I like to say, this thing of ours, everybody here bears their own cross. We carry our own accountability. Over here, that's what makes you stand. That's what makes you a man over here. Not by running from your situation, by standing in your information and conquering that information. So then you go back and tell your brother, man, this is what happened to me, and this is what I did and conquer that situation. Not about how I ran and got away from the police. How, oh man, old girl hit me up, she's talking about she pregnant, but man, I don't think the baby is mine, and all that buffoonery things that you hear, on a daily, So, I'm like Suge Knight, you tired of being out there in the world, what I'm saying? People dancing all in the videos, dancing all in the records and everything. Man, come over here to this remnant. All right, who's next? Okay.
Yes, sir. God.
I got a new nickname around here. Call me Kiwi. Yeah, so let's go forward a little bit. All right here. Okay. I'm glad that Eddie went before me and he spoke on a bit of how his generation was, but I want to speak on mine a little bit. I'm 27 years old. My name is Key. And growing up in a generation that I grew up in, I was constantly seeking information. And in this, the early 2000s, begin to have more of social media, stuff like that. You got YouTube and then Facebook and more social media platforms came, to the forefront. And I was always constantly seeking some type of information because of the lack of men that I had around me, and I always felt that the males that I grew up around, they always showed me the opposite of what I should be doing. And so as I got older and I start seeking more information, I began to, like with the numbers game, I began to seek things thinking it was about popularity, but I always knew it was something out there for me, that it was something special that I was supposed to be doing. It was something about it. And I've always tried to seek it through maybe religion, or trying to find it within Islam, whatever it was. But once I came across this information, it's what broke me. And I knew that it was everything that I was looking for, because it was a spiritual thing. It hit me right where it was supposed to. And once I began to get into the information and it broke me, I knew this is exactly where I needed to be. And now that I have everything that I've been looking for, I'm just continuing to grow and continuing to keep seeking and because I have eternity right now. So all I got to do is continue to grow. And there's 3 foundations within the information. You become remnant, and you decide to commit to the information. And then you start applying the information. You start applying it and you see the results of it. But the 3rd step is you fall in. And that's when you're supposed to get up. As long as you get up, you're going to continue to grow in this thing. And you continue to be obedient and submissive to the Most High. That's what's going to keep you your eternity. That's all. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go, Joe.
Man, what's up, man? You good? You gonna go? How you do this time, man? In the words of my cousin, he would say, "You got to be smarter than the gadget right now."
Yep.
Lace me up, man. Excellent, excellent. Okay, good evening. Blessings, everybody. Glad everybody's here. You know what I'm saying? My name is Joseph H. As you guys probably see on YouTube. I had a topic from last week, and my brother Kavasi, we kind of talked about this a little bit, but even with the topic that Dre was able to bring and convey today has even strengthened it. So I'm definitely going to be speaking on it. It was titled Misplaced Values. And with the misplaced values, I can definitely be the first to say I can identify a lot of places where there was misplaced value in my life. But the beauty about it is that I now have the eyes to be able to see those areas. So I got a pool. And in the remnant, we got a thing where we call it a righteousness. And there's a righteous pool. You get to have a firm understanding of exactly everything that was occurring. But most importantly, first is where the Most High was in that. So going back to when I was young, I'm an individual that's got a blemished past. I ain't perfect, man. I'm far from it. You know what I'm saying? And I pray that this is able to reach my community of those who have been incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? But just everybody in general. So one thing that I want to definitely convey right now is that within this information, grasping it, taking hold of it, operating in it, applying it, as my brother Kiway said, applying it, it pours into every area of your life. And by doing that, you're able to also too have covering in these areas, but now flip the coin, vice versa, right? Also too, for the things that you lend yourself to, placing value in, it can also pour in the areas of your life. So for me, one area was fear. And within this fear, it came from a small experience of first being incarcerated at a very young age, juvenile years, right? But not knowing that this is going to carry on into my adult years, right? On the way that I would show up for where the Most High allowed me to have another experience of being arrested of some sense, you know what I'm saying? And dealing in front of these people, showing up in front of these people. But more so what that fear was able to, what that fear comes with is a lack thereof courage, poise, and belief. Yeah. So with those three things, just how Dre was saying earlier, they're able to dictate your future by what it is that they're labeling you as, by what it is that they're dictating your future to be, by what they're sentencing you to and how much time they're going to give you, and more so importantly, these so-called redemption programs that they're going to provide you, which is all governed in the way that they're going to try to mold and teach you, but more so conditioning. So knowing that, and that's their power that they instilled, right? I was ceding power to it. That's the cold part. That's the cold part. So now I'm finding myself in areas and situations in my life where I'm operating out this fear that's now been ceded to me, that I place value on. It's misplaced. Where I'm putting on an anger, a disappointment, and an indignation that was not righteous. You know what I'm saying? Showing up in certain areas of my life where there was more of a reaction than a response. So fast forward, right? I always knew that the Most High was somewhere with me, but I couldn't take grasp of it, right? And that's the cold part about this whole thing, is that Hebrews 3:15, man. The moment you hear, and I'm paraphrasing, or D, can you pull up Hebrews 3:15 for me? So that's just a little bit of context leading to this point of where I started taking the value of what it is I was hearing in these certain moments and started walking towards it.
Hebrews 3:15 says, through him, therefore, let us at all times offer up to Yah a sacrifice of praise, which is the fruit of lips that thankfully acknowledge and confess and glorify his name. Is that what you're looking for?
I think that was the wrong one. My apologies, y'all. Forgive me. Hebrews 4.
Yeah.
Hebrews 3:15.
3:15.
My apologies.
Today, while it is said, Hebrews 3:15, today,
Are you an AMP or GNC?
I'm an AMP.
There we go.
Is that the version you want?
Yep.
Okay. 3:15, Hebrews 3:15 AMP. While it is said, today, while there is still opportunity, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart. As when they provoked me in the rebellion in the desert at Meribah. Today, while there is still opportunity, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart, as when they provoked me in the rebellion in the desert of Meribah.
So having the opportunity to finally be able to hear something that's far more greater than what was given to me drew me closer to start listening, right? So leading to my previous and most recent experience dealing with these people, something inside of me with a righteous now indignation was able to sit before these people. No concerns, no worries, and actually a smile on my face. And even leading to the point where a so-called judgment was placed on me, there was a little voice in the back of my mind that said that this judgment doesn't hold no power over you. My judgment is final, right? So even standing before the judge, getting up, speaking, and letting him know, you know what I'm saying? And this is the word said, this is going to be the last time you see me. He's more focused on me taking accountability. That's been done, brother. It's going to be the last time you see me. And I mean that, right? You know what I'm saying? So leading to the point of getting out the courtroom, this is something very unheard of, but this is also what comes with this transferring of the value. For the person that I am, I shook the prosecutor's hands. I'm not I don't want accolades or anything. I'm just presenting the word that was now received and planted to be able to do these things. Because if I wasn't operating from the word that is now instilled inside of me, I would have continued operating out of that fear, doubt, and disbelief, which in other words, you're lending your members. You're not operating on the faith that's given to you. You know what I'm saying? So as much as they try to provide these so-called redemption programs, as I was saying earlier, the Most High provided restoration, the ultimate restoration. So, you know, I pray that this is going to be able to reach who it needs to reach and accompany the areas that need to be challenged on that fear, but more importantly, where you're placing your value, because there's a lot of deception in where there's a lot of deception on the leading. There's a lot of deception on how the system tries to provoke you to believe their way is right, when in actuality, the most high way is the most way that the best way that you can take, because it's gonna make a crooked place straight. You know what I'm saying? So yes.
Oh, praise it. A lot of our brothers get up here rocking those glasses, looking like professors. I feel left out. I don't got nothing to touch. Dre read something earlier, had me read something in Matthew 7:13, but 14 following behind that. Starting at 13, it said, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and spacious and broad is the way that leads away to destruction. And many are those who enter in through it." 14 says, "But the gate is narrow and contracted by pressure, and the way is straitened and compressed that leads away to life, and few are those who find it." Few are those who find it. I've been talking to a lot of my brothers, some of the sisters, and I remember when I first met my son Yuri. Most of y'all know who he is. If you don't, he looks like a splitting image of me, as most of my kids do. But I was talking to his mom when we first met, and she was like super pumped up about our people being Israelites, who we are, where we come from, and she was talking to me about it every day. And she had a great amount of information about it. And I remember one day specifically me telling her to just shut up about it. I didn't want to hear it anymore, right? And she looked at me like I was crazy. But I told her I didn't want to hear about who our people were from her, because she needed to learn the foundation of what it took in her case to be a woman of character and principles. The same thing applies to manhood: honor, loyalty, respect, integrity, and dignity. It doesn't matter if we have this information, as beautiful as it is. It doesn't matter how much of it you know. Our ancestors had a wealth of information, the same information to begin with, and they were still out of bounds, causing a 400-year curse to be placed upon our people. It's not what you know so much as you apply the information that you get in your life. If you can't stand to be a man or a woman of character and principle before anything else in your life, all of this is useless. Not trying to blow up the channel or anything, but if that doesn't become the foundation and the most important thing in your life, you're wasting your time and your money right now. You're wasting it. Again, you can't take this information and do anything outside of what's required with you in the information. I've seen people try to do bad with good. It doesn't work. It never does. There's a character flaw there, because those individuals have begun to value so much what the world has been pumping out, and they've been taken in, that anytime they feel like they get something that they can use instead of apply, but they can use to get ahead just because it's something that sounds good, because the information is appealing, right? It's very appealing. especially for a man to be sharing it with a woman. I myself personally know exactly what it does to a woman from the inside out when a man is sharing this information. You heard Dre say earlier, all you have to do is talk to a woman for 15 minutes. She's going to feel something in your disposition about this information, about being a man. And she will. But in our culture, and I was talking to one of the loved ones earlier about this, in our culture, we value and have been tricked by great orators. And so, just like a lot of the men like things that sound good to them, a woman saying the right things and not necessarily focusing on a woman doing the right things, women also value that. A man coming to say all the right things, to touch all the right emotions, not having that foundation inside of her that leads her to operate in her virtue, to have that reserve about her and not entertain certain conversations and certain things, not to value those things like most of the people that come out of this 400 years do. This is pretty much the case all over the world, not just with blacks, not just with Latinos, not just with the Israelites, but with everyone. The beautiful thing is we got this relief doctrine. We don't have to be subject to those things anymore. We can keep standing up and making that choice in our life every single day to value the things that the Most High has placed here for us to value over what the world keeps pumping out to us through Instagram, through Facebook, through TikTok, through just the people that we interact with on a daily basis, right? We have what we need to take a stand and operate in the capacity that is pleasing to the Most High and not just to our so-called friends or family members. None of this is designed to be pleasing for anybody else but the Most High, between you and the Most High, God with me. I don't do this for Eddie. I don't do this for Key. I don't do it for my aunt and uncle. As much as I love them to death, and they're some of my favorite people on the face of the earth, this is not for them. They gave it to me, but I don't do it for them. All right? Don't do it for them. This is for the Most High. This is because this is who I choose to be in my life. This is who I stand up and fight to be every day. Unc said that manhood can be summed up in one word, right? In one word. When he said it, I stood up behind him because that's what came to heart. That one word for me is to stand. Stand after you've done everything in your life. The scripture says, after you've exhausted every resource, every possibility that you have to stand, and you're tired and beat up, just keep standing. A good partner of mine, a brother of mine, very close. He's not here today, but he's up in the remnant. He has it on his tattooed on his back. I knew he was my loved one when I saw it. Stand and keep standing. You know, it rings so much in our life. That rings so much in my life. I don't know about y'all, but it rings in my life. Because the one thing the Most High can't do is lie. If we stand up and do what we're supposed to do, he promised he would show up. He promised that. And if he can't lie, you can rest assured I'm going to put him to the test. Because I want that in my life. Not for anybody else, not to impress my family, not to impress my woman, not because it makes me a better father, not because I'm a better dad to my kids, not to impress the remnant, because that's the covering I want in my life. And that's what this information gives us. It gives us that the ability to have that. So with that being said, if nobody else has anything else to say, I think we got somebody that we don't really hear from too much. Maybe. Huh? Honda?
Okay, I guess I'm a, huh? I guess I'm gonna speak. You know, I have what they call stage fright, and I say with that, you know, me not liking to speak in front of people almost made me not come to Washington because I didn't really know what to expect if I was gonna have to speak in front of like a larger crowd or just almost everybody in Washington, you know. But I had to just pretty much push through that feeling, you know, because when we heard that we were coming to Washington, you know, I was pretty confident, and regardless, I was gonna come, right? But excuse me, kind of nervous. Yeah, so you know, I was pretty confident and wanted to move here, you know, but you know, like I was about to say,
Can I ask you a question?
mhm.
We have a bunch of classes, and a lot of people normally have their favorites. You know, which you got a favorite?
Favorite
And why?
class.
Topic class.
There's so many of them.
I know. How about that class on what was it about women? What was it? She is woman. You seen that?
Mhm.
You remember it? A lot.
Yeah.
Because you're taking a lot.
Yeah.
I can say that I'm extremely proud of your disposition and your faith, your belief.
Mhm.
You know, you don't always have to say a lot. There's a lot of people that say a lot. You do a lot.
Mhm.
You do a lot. And I'd rather have a doer of the word than just a hearer of the word.
Yeah.
That's what you are. You want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
Yep. That's kind of what I was trying to say earlier. About the whole me being nervous at first. You know, because you know the enemy was kind of getting to me when I was confident coming here. You know, and it's kind of like, well, you know, you're too shy to speak in front of people, and you know, just a whole lot of negative thoughts. But just having to pretty much push through that and just wanted to I'm sorry, I what to say. Uh, yeah. Yeah. See, that's my problem right there. As far as what do you mean? Just being around family, you know, and that's what really what brought me here. You know, not being too focused on my fears, because I've always been, you know, with me always like growing up being quiet and shy and everything. I've always had a fear of like stepping out into the world, you know, and having to make something of myself, you know. So yeah, just having to conquer that.
What do you think making something of yourself now for you to the ring?
Making something of myself now, I don't know. It's just more so me being submitted and obedient, you know, just leaving everything up to the Most High. Because I will always struggle with that, and with that is like I will always think like, I got to make something of myself. I don't know what I want to do. I feel like I'm running out of time. The older I get, each birthday that passed, you know. So just now, just leaving that to the Most High, and just more so focusing on my submission and obedience, you know, and just that's the only thing I can really focus on. Right. Mhm.
So you got that right. Guess what? You made something of yourself already.
Right.
Already.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah.
Come on. Let's get it.
After that, I'll let you guys get some
Right here. Shirt.
There you go.
I'll just be real quick because I know y'all hungry.
Don't be quick for that. You gotta say.
So listening to y'all talk, by the way, y'all look good today. Y'all look amazing, very sharp. Yep. Give it up for yourself. But what I want to say is when I listen to you guys talk and I hear a commonality in everybody's stories, and I get an image. I get the imagery of a Venus flytrap. Y'all know what a Venus flytrap is, right? So a Venus flytrap is a flower that will emit a very sweet scent, right? So a fly will be just flying around minding its own business. You know, it's unsuspecting. It gets a whiff of this scent, and then it's thrown off of its path, and it goes over into this flower, right? Starts drinking out of the flower. It starts drinking this sweet nectar, right? And all the while, it has an opportunity to leave, right? It's not trapped yet, but it just keeps going, and it keeps taking that nectar. It's addicted at this point, and it has a chance to leave, but before it gets a chance to fly away, boom, the flower closes its mouth and it devours the fly, right? And so that is what I think about when I hear, Dre talk about, people selling you an idea, and it throws you off of your original culture and you go into this idea. Or when Eddie, when you talk about, they're just giving you these different things. Or I guess I'm saying, I'm going back to what you were saying about pumping out, Instagram images, TikTok images, all of these things, they distract you. And all of these distractions will throw you off of your purpose, right? And so, and it reminds me of what Dre said as well. It's like being a man is being able to be willing to die before you give in to those distractions, before you are willing to weaken yourself and go down that path of destruction. You can say, no, I have a plan. Before you even leave the house, you have a plan, right? You say, I'm gonna get this done. No matter what scent I smell, no matter what looks good to my eyes, no matter what sweet words she says to me, no matter what he says to me, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna finish my plan, right? Because that's my purpose as a man or as a woman. And so that's just all I had to say. Like, that image just kept coming to my mind, and I kept thinking about how, we are led down the path to destruction, but we always have a chance to leave. Right. But sometimes, we just stay on that path until it's too late. Right. But we always have a chance to just get back on that right path and fulfill your purpose.
So that's going to be it. Listen, this is real great. This is our public outreach, because normally we do things through our classes. We do classes Monday and Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Get in class. That's where you get taught. That's when we really were able to go into real detail for an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, right? And we are able to break things down. This is our public outreach, and we love doing it. But get in class. If you get into class, I advise you to use your computer or Android, because if you use your iPhone, Apple charges a surcharge. So instead of it being $50, you'll end up paying like almost $65. So use your computer, or if you have Android, use it, right? And you only have to pay $50. And that's for twice a week, right? Once you get into the classes, we give you access to hundreds of classes. There's probably over 300 classes on different topics that you will be able to go through at your leisure. We do not sell nothing to you later, right? We're not trying to get money off you to get rich off you, right? So when you become a member, you have access to the 300 plus classes that are in there on all topics. You got immediate access, okay? All praises to the Most High. We'll see you next week.